Hey students, this is lesson 3-2 review. In this lesson we are learning how to find percent increase and decrease and how to interpret percent comparisons. So I'm just going to do a couple problems to help finish this lesson. First thing, I'm going to skip around a lot here, so kind of pay attention to that. I'm going to go to page 3. And we're going to look at problems 1 and 2 from the homework here. And it says, estimate the percent change. Be sure to indicate whether it's an increase or decrease. The price of lettuce from one week to the next. So in week 1, this bar represents the price of lettuce. In week 2, the new bar is higher, so it's a percent increase. And we're just going to estimate. And the way we're going to estimate is we have to figure out what portion this increase is compared to the original amount. So if I were to take this piece off of here, and one way I could do that is I'll just make a little rectangle to help do that. That's the same height as that. And if I put that rectangle in here and then use that to estimate, we can see it's a little more than half of the original. So we're going to say the increase is about, I don't know, maybe 55–60%. Because it's a little more than half, and half would be 50%. All right, the second one, we're decreasing. And we can tell that because the second bar is lower than the first bar. And again, I want the portion that's the decrease, and I want to compare that to the original, the first month. So if I were to draw in a rectangle the same size as that part that we're missing there, and then I compare that to the original. So how many of those rectangles make up the original? Well, there's 1, 2, 3. It looks like about 4 there. So it looks like it's about 1/4 of the total bar. 1/4 is the same as 25 out of 100, or 25%. So it looks like we're losing about 25% of the total. All right, I'm going to skip to page 14 and I'm going to do number 11. It says there are 864 students and 32 teachers at Scott School. There are 1,428 students and 42 teachers at King School. And part A says find the ratio of students to teachers at each school. I'm going to just do one of these and I'm going to let you do the other one. So we want students to teachers at Scott. And that would be just this ratio, 864/32. Now if you want, you can always simplify that ratio. And you can use your calculator to do that. So I just typed 864 divided by 32 in my calculator, and I'm going to turn that into a fraction. And the way I did that is I pressed my math button. And that's the same as 27/1. So that simplifies to 27/1. So in other words, 27 students for every 1 teacher. Now, I just want to look at some other ways we can interpret that. One thing we can do is we can say there's 27 times as many students as teachers. If we want, we can figure out what percent of the people in the school are students, and to do that we'd have to total the students plus the teachers. So 864 out of the total 896. Turn that into a percent, and that would tell us what percent of the total people in the school are students. And we could do some other comparisons, like we could say there are 10 more teachers at King School than at Scott School. There are, think about this, it looks like if I divide 1,428 by 864, Looks like there's about 1.65 times as many students in King School than at Scott School. So some different ways to interpret that information. All right, I'll let you finish that up. I'm going to move to the next page, page 15, and do numbers 7 and 8. And that's finding the percent increase or decrease. I just wanted to remind you how to do this, in case you forgot. When you're finding a percent increase, so what is the percent increase going from this original amount to this new amount? Remember that you want to know the actual increase to find the percent of increase. So to find that, the first thing you're going to do is subtract 105 minus 77, and that's equal to 28. And then that's going to be your part, and the original amount is your whole, and then change that to a percent. So I need to change the ratio of 28/77 to a percent. And if I want, I can just move the decimal over 2 places, so about 36%. And since it went up, that's a 36% increase. Now for a decrease, we do the same thing, find out how much change there is by finding the difference. So 96 minus 59 is 37. That's my part. My original is my whole. And then I want to know how many that is on 104%. So 37 divided by 96. Is about a 38.5, let's call it a 39%. Approximate 39% decrease this time. All right, so that's how you do percent increase, percent decrease. I'm going to do one more problem. I'm going to go to page 16 and do number 5. It says clothing. Sandy's clothing shop has a markup of 45% on dresses. How much will Sandy's charge for a dress that costs the shop $48? So if all I wanted to do was find 45% of the price, I could just do 45 over 100 for my percent, and for my whole, I want the price 48. So I need to do 48 times 45 divided by 100. Or my shortcut would be 45 divided by 100 first, which is 0.45 times 48. And that's 21.6. Now that's how much we need to add on, and this is a price, so I'm going to put a 0 there to put it to the nearest 100. So I need to add that on to my 48. 48 plus 21. 60 equals 69.60. So that's what Sandy would charge if she marks it up 45%. Now another way you can look at this is if the original price, the $48, is 100%, then when we add 45% to that, we're going to have 145% of the original. And so I could put 145 here and find the part out of 48 that makes, and that would give me the price with the markup. On my calculator, the way I would do that is 145 divided by 100 is 1.45 times 48, and that'll give me the price with the markup, which is $69.60. So another option, just take, when you're doing a markup, add the percent on to 100, and so just do 48 times 1.45, and that'll give you the price with the markup. All right, that's the end of the review. Go ahead and finish up any problems you haven't done. And we all see you in class next time.